Okay, this is part two of the Fowler mapping project, and what we're going to be doing on this section is to determine how many points you need to put on based on the rules of thumb that were given in the slideshow, uh, and and some of these formulas that we learned last semester about or last summer about how far apart your spacing should be given how many points you're putting in a certain area. So we're going to kind of walk through this on all four of these, and then what we're trying to do is find out how far apart our spacing for these points should be. That will give us the appropriate number of points out there, and then we're going to be using this tool that's out there by a company called. I'm going to open up their manual really quick if it will load for me. It's an app actually called Repeating Shapes for ArcGIS. It was written by this Jeff Jennis. He's a wildlife biologist, and basically what he is created was this way of putting all different types of repeating things out there, primarily for putting research plots or inventory plots and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different things out there. This one's free, and I've asked our IT folks to load this tool onto all the computers in the other room, and in room 3311. So it'll at least be on a couple of them, and provided you keep all your projects loaded up on your M drives, you should be able to access whatever computers have that app on it. So that's what you're looking for, is that little hexagon sort of tool right there. But before we get to that, we're going to figure out how many, what our spacing should be based on these. And that those rules of thumb that were given in the slideshow was that you have to have a minimum of 30 points, okay, per any area that you're going to be working on. And then anything that's over 30 acres, then you need to subtract 30 acres from that, and every 5 acres you have left over gets one more point. So let's try that with this one up here, okay? So I'm going to pull up my little calculator, and I've got 38 acres, right? So I know 30 of them are, I know I'm going to do 30 points, right, out there at least. And so I'm going to take 38, I'm going to subtract 30 acres, whoops, I'm going to subtract 30 acres from that. I've got 8 acres left over. Divide that by 5 to see how many more points I need to put in. 1.6. I'm just going to round it down, being lazy, to 31 points, right? I have 30, and then I have to do one more for that extra 5 or extra 8 acres. So I know I have 31 points that I need to be including out there, or in this one little area. All right, so how far apart do they need to be spaced? Well, it's a 37 acre area, right? 37 acres, but I'm going to be only putting out 31 points. So how much area is represented by 1 point? It's 1.2 acres per point. So every point I do out there represents 1.2 acres. Okay, kind of like what we learned before. So how big is an acre? 10 square chains. So if I'm trying to figure out how many feet on the side that is, I could do that by chains, or I could just figure that out by, I can multiply that by 43,560 times 1.2, let's say. All right. And then I do the square root of that. So basically it's saying every 228 feet. I think it's about 3.4 chains, something like that. But each point will represent an area that's 228 feet on the side. Okay, so I'm going to jot that number down, and that's the number I'm going to use when I'm creating these points. And that should get somewhere around 32 points as a result of that. Okay, let's give that a try. I'm going to go back in here, click on the oh, I need to select an area. Now each polygon is going to be different because I want to select each polygon separately. All right, because I'm going to have a different. I want to lay out those grids a little bit differently on each one. All right, so essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click the MUs. I'm going to go selection, make this the only selectable layer. I'm going to use my select tool and select polygon number 4, MU number 4. All right, so now it's selected, and when I go into the tool, I'll pick the selection on the top with respect to selected features in the layer. Okay, then I go next, and this is the one I want to select. So it's it's going which ones you want to do, and so it's telling me the management units. I've got one record selected there, so that's the one I want to go with. And I'm going to do points in a square pattern, and spacing between the points I'm going to go 228 feet, and I want to keep the degrees set to 0. I want them to be north, south, east, west. All right. My map is oriented to true north, so that's how I'm going to go. And it's going to create a shapefile. It's going to put it out in Fowler too. I'm going to call it points MU4. And it's going through all that, and give it a second. And oh, it did it. So let me go ahead and exit out. Let me go ahead and make those a little easier to see. Maybe not quite so big. Come on, you. There we go. So there's my points, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And I could always pop another one in there. So it gave me 30, okay? Pretty close to what I'm looking for. And if I have to, when I'm out there in the field, I can move that one over so that it's more representative. So they don't have to be perfectly lined up. But this gives you a ballpark of what you're going to be doing while you're out there. Very, very handy. Okay? So let's try that again with the next one. We have 52 acres. And so I've got 52. I know I'm going to be doing 30 points, and I'm going to subtract 30 acres out of that, so minus 30. I got 22 acres left over. Divide that by 5. So that's I'm going to be doing 4 more points. Okay, so 34 points altogether. Okay. So that's 52 acres, and I'm going to be doing 34 points in it. Okay, so how many acres is represented by 1 point? So 54 divided by 34, 1.56 acres is represented by 1 point. Okay, so it's a slightly larger area is represented by each point. So they're going to be spread out further. So I'm going to take that and multiply it by 43,560. That's how many square feet are in that area represented by each point, and then I get the square root of that. So 263 feet. I'm going to jot that down, and that's the number I'm going to use to place the points. That's how far apart each of those points are going to be on there. And I should end up with, if I did everything right, fairly close to 34 points. Okay, so let's go back into the map again. And this time I've selected this polygon. I'm going to go to my handy dandy little grid maker with respect to selected feature. Go next and make sure that the MUs with one record selected is going to go. It's going to be points. This time it's going to be 263 feet. Still no offset. And away we go. So, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't name it right. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to give it a good name. So I'm going to remove that. And let's do that all over again. It only takes a second. So next, 263, and I'm going to call it points MU3. Sweet. There they are. Let's go ahead and make them stand out a little bit better. I think we went down to about 8 with the 8 or 9. There we go. Alright, so I should have 34 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Ha! Well, I guess I can make the spacing a little bit closer, huh? So let's get rid of that. And we'll do it a little bit closer this time. Next, select that one. And let's go 250. I'll just overwrite the other one. MU3. Yep. That's a little bit more there. Okay, so yeah, you just do it a couple of times, and eventually you'll hit on how many you need. And but it's kind of a this is kind of a logical way of going about doing it. Oops. Let's make those a little smaller. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Getting closer, okay? But you got the idea. So you can kind of do that. And so now the next one, we have got, what, 90, I'm going to go to management unit 1. Now I've got 142 acres. Okay, I'm going to subtract out 30. And I'm going to divide that by 5. So I got to add 22 extra points, right? So it's going to be 52 points. So I've got 142 acres divided by 52 points. I'm trying to find out how many acres is represented by each point. 2.75 acres. I'm going to multiply that by 4, 3, 5, 60. And that is how many square feet are represented by each point. Okay? And then I just do the square root of that, and it tells me how long the side of each one of those areas is. So square root. 345 feet. Okay, so it looks like we've been getting kind of just because of the shapes of these areas, it's not throwing the points in as much. So uh, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and maybe knock that down to about 330. Okay, maybe that'll. Or well, actually, this is not a very bizarre looking shape. It might fit it in. So let's try the 344 and see how many we get. So we're looking for 52, right? And we're going 345 feet. So let's go ahead and select this. Next. 344 feet. We'll go with that, and then we'll call this MU points MU1 and do it to it. Well, that was easy. See if we got 52. Let me make these a little brighter so you can see them. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Okay, so we'll go 344. Get rid of that. Or we'll go 3. Let's go 330 on it. You could always delete some. I mean, that's next. 330 MU1. Override it. Okay. Sweet. Nice thing is, it just does it all for you, though. As long as you get the. Alright, looks like I've got one sitting up there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we're overshot it, right? But you get the idea. You can go in there and delete some of these points. It's really easy to do. You just cross them off. And and then the last one that you would work on would be 97. So we take 97, subtract out 30, right? 67, divide that by 5. That's 13 extra points. So that's going to be 43 points, right? 97 acres divided by 43 points is 2.25 acres per point. Okay, multiply that by 43560, and that's the square foot represented by each point. And then we just do the square root of that, more or less, right? Then we'll go 300 feet on that one. Let's see what happens with that. So we're looking for 43 points, right? And we'll go 300 feet. Kind of fun, huh? MU2. Ah, I selected the wrong one. Aha. Alright, no worries, mate. Let's get rid of that dude, and let's try that again. Guess select that one first. Next. Points MU2 overwrite. No problem. There we go. Let's see if we get 43. So I know you can't see me counting it, but just trust me, I'm doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 45, 46. And then we got those two glumpy ones over there, so we probably wouldn't even do them. So there you go. Okay, and nice way of getting your plots in there. You do need to know what your you'd have to write down your distances, and so the first one, uh, we we went 340 on one, we went 300 on one. So you would have to convert all those so if you were going to be pacing between them in chains. So the first one was we spread them out by 227 feet. Okay, divided by 66. So about 3.4 chains between them. Okay, 3.5 chains, you're probably okay. The second one was 220, 228, is that right? Well, whatever that number was, you would just divide that by 66. Okay, so let's say it was 220 divided by 66. You would have to pace out 3.3, so 3.25 chains. This one was 300. This one was 340 feet apart, so 340 divided by 66. 5 chains. Okay, there are 5 chains apart. And then this one is that was 300. That's going to be 4 chains divided by 66. 4.5 chains. All right. So now you know your spacing and your pacing and all that good stuff. And so that gives you a. I'm going to hit the clear, so everything's cleared, and I'm going to. You can see that it's been building in the legend. I'm going to get my select arrow here, and so I want to get those. I don't need those in there. And so now I have the different points that I need for the different stands that I'm going to be working on. All right, and so that's a good way of getting those things organized. And of course, you're probably not going to be doing anything nearly this large. And if you are, I'm not going to require you to do thousands of points out there. But this does give you an idea, based on some of those rules of thumb that we were talking about, that is how you would go about doing it. And I just wanted to show you that there are some tools out there that do this kind of stuff for you. It keeps you from having to do all that yourself. So you would save this now as a aerial with points. Okay. Oh, shit. Oops, you didn't hear that. Copy. And you would save that as a JPEG, obviously, and then a PDF, and save it for me. And then on the, you would probably the best thing to do would be to just redo your topo map one. So basically, rather than pull that one in, you can just resave it. So what I'm going to do is turn off the ortho, turn on the topo, and it may be worthwhile changing those colors to something a little more seeable against all that green background. And you could label the points, or you could just write it in when you go out into the field, but you do want to bring this with you out into the field and use it, maybe check them off as you're going through. That keeps you a lot more organized. Alright, so if you know which ones that you've just visited, you know, you're able to do it. And I would probably label them. I'd probably bring a pencil out with me and write on that sheet as you're moving along, because that point is going to be associated with the data for point number 1, point number 2, and that kind of stuff. So pretty important. So then you go ahead and save this one with the new name. Okay, with points, and then go save as. Oh, save as. Topo with points, and then of course export it as a JPEG and a PDF, which I'm not going to spend all that time doing right now for you, but you get the idea, right? So I'll just do a PDF and then we'll call it good. Alright, so there's other ways of doing it, obviously, and you could do it by hand and put these all in, kind of like what we had done in class. But it's, and we'll sit down together, we'll look at the area that you're going to be working on, and we'll come up with some sort of a meaningful estimate. I'm not going to require you, I think, I don't want you to be spending your whole semester out there just trying to get data. I want you to go out there and get a decent amount of data, maybe 30 points total that you're going to be collecting on the whole tract, and we'll divvy that up accordingly. But you do need to bring that stuff into me, and we need to talk about it. But for this exercise that you're going to be turning into me, go ahead and just follow what we did, that format, and see if you can't come up with a decent looking grid. Okay? All right. Signing off. There'll be one more coming on that's going to take this shape file that you've created and convert it to pull that into the WebSol survey, and from there you'll be able to go ahead and do your soils maps and stuff like that. Okay, so stay tuned.